Okay, so hello again. I'm Jessica Dickow. I work in the Center for Global Education. This is our information session on spring 2027. And this is an amazing picture that you will, it's not quite from the angle of CYA, but you can get there kind of to see, can you? Yes. To get pictures of this, there are lots of amazing shots. They're on this side over here, right?
Well, we actually went to a showing in that theater right there. So CY is actually back over,
Over here? No,
yeah,
it's over.
yeah. So.
No,
This,
but
yeah,
it's on this. Sorry, not the usual perspective, but you have, when you walk out of the school building, right up. And they put colored lights on at night. So everyone knows it's located in Athens. It's a large city. You are on the coast, but you are not on a beach. You are in the center of a city. You can get to the coast, but you won't see the ocean from your house. And you work with our partner college here in Athens. It's a study center. So they're not a university in the same sense that they don't offer degree programs, but they offer study abroad programs for a semester, a year, or a short term like summer or winter. And they work with faculty led. So that's the partners we've been working with for many years, and they are delightful humans. So they have a lovely study center though with classrooms and all, sort of like a school, but a little bit different. And you live in apartments, and we'll talk more about that in a second. And then I'm going to hand it over and get started on the introductions with all the other lovely folks.
I'm Ellen Block. I'll be leading the Athens 27 study abroad. Just to tell you a little bit about myself, I'm an anthropology professor in the Soc-Anthro department, and my work has taken me all over the world, which has been really great. My field work for my dissertation is in Lesotho. It's an old country inside South Africa. And so I lived there for about 2 years with my husband, with my kids at some certain points when they were alive and born. And then I also lived in Belize for a year after I graduated from college. I did my study abroad at Fremantle in Australia when I was an undergrad at the University of Notre Dame. We have the same program as St. Vincent John's. So I have lots of experience abroad. And then I got the chance to lead the study abroad to South Africa in spring of 24. So that was my group over there. That's us in front of Table Mountains. One of my kids is in there, and like a student from another university. You don't need to know which one that is. And then this is my family. We went to Lesotho before we went to South Africa just to visit our friends there, and I work with an NGO there. So I love taking, it was like the most fun special semester for the group and for my family. And then I also lead a Zambia program that's an embedded, it's like a 2 or 3 weeks at the end of the semester. So I did that in spring of 23, and I'll be doing it again this coming spring of 26. So I really love leading study abroad. I'm excited about the seminar that I've come up with to lead you all in. And I just like, it's really fun to get to travel with students, get to know them on a different level, and kind of get to like guide you through an experience that was really formative for me when I was an undergrad. So I'm super pumped about it. I pretty much want to lead study abroad as often as I can. So and I bring my like professor, mom, camp counselor energy to that, I would say, if I had to like explain my vibe. It might show you on the next slide. Is that the seminar one, or is something else happens first?
There's not one specifically on this.
Okay.
So if you want to talk about that.
I thought there was in the original version, but
well, there's one on academics.
okay,
wait,
sure. Yeah, I'll just talk about it now. So the seminar that when I was in South Africa, like that's my area of expertise. So originally I planned my class around like, oh, I want students to read this and I want them to read that and da. And then I got there and learned what they were taking as their classes, not the study abroad seminar, but all the other classes they were taking. And they were taking like pop culture from like this South African musician. They were taking like political science classes about South African apartheid with a professor who's like a political scientist from South Africa, and all this South African content from South Africans. And I was like, they don't need that from me. So I kind of changed gears and really focused on sort of 2 aspects. One was getting us engaged in the place where we were living. So one of the things that we had so much fun doing was every student, we were a small group, so probably for Greece, we'll do it in pairs, but researches and lead the group on a field trip, which was super fun. So you have to like do the background work to take your group on like a tour of public art or, you know, some kind of historical monument or some new development or something that you think is interesting. And some of them like arranged with people to give a tour of some kind of like nonprofit. There was lots of different angles you could do that, but it was super fun because we got to take lots of field trips, but it kind of forced us to do things a little bit outside the box. They weren't just like, go to this museum or that museum or this site, and that's like, that stuff we're gonna be doing already, so. And then the other angle was kind of like, you can go, has anyone been outside the US before, like traveled anywhere? Couple folks, so you can go on a vacation abroad and just like have fun and not think that deeply about what you're experiencing and just like see the sights. I mean, in South Africa, it's a country of like very vast inequality. Greece too has, you know, a huge Syrian migrant population, for example, and lots of like economic issues, and there's lots of like beautiful history and interesting things and delicious food kind of like right up against real Grecians living their lives, you know, Greeks, I guess, people don't say Grecians anymore, that's like ancient styles, but. And so for me, I wanna force us to like, not just do the fun stuff, which we will also do, but to really think about like how are we positioned in this space? What kind of, how can we deepen our engagement here? How can we grapple with the like uncomfortable feelings we have when we pass this same homeless family on the street every day or whatever it is? So that's kind of the two angles I took. One was like learning and engaging in the space around us, and the other one is forcing us to like open our eyes to the dynamics and inequalities and beautiful things and sad things going on around us. So that's kind of how I approached the study abroad seminar, and it was super impactful and fun way to do it in South Africa and really interesting. So I've got like a kind of a new angle on it for this class, but pretty much gonna do that same sort of approach. So yeah, that's pretty much my, should we save questions for later?
Sure, unless you have questions, you can certainly.
Questions for me
check.
at the moment? Okay,
That sounds amazing.
super fun.
It's nice to experience the place. We've probably all been traveled somewhere and been tourists, right? But it's really different to experience it on that more layered level. Feel like you live there. Maybe you get bored once or twice. It's a very busy city. It's hard to get bored, but get bored, you know, you really lived a place and have an afternoon in the winter. What should I do?
Oh, and my family will be with me too. So.
We have both. Oh, where are you all? Okay, well, I will share the one with the lovely photos that you shared. I must have pulled the wrong one. Technology is not working with me at all today. If you would like to introduce yourselves, these are our fabulous alums. When I share out the PowerPoint, you will get to see that they have beautiful pictures, and I meant to share, we get questions going on. See if I can't pull that up. Now I feel that. There were amazing photos you shared. I'm gonna keep them, but if you could go ahead and introduce yourselves and let us know what major and why you initially thought you wanted to go to Greece.
Yeah, so hi everybody, I'm Matea Jorgensen. I'm a senior bio major, and Greece kind of stood out to me from the beginning. I always kind of, I was interested in studying abroad when I came here, and I'm a bio major, so Greece wasn't necessarily really related to what I want to do, but I always thought the culture was really interesting, and it's kind of nice to go to a warm place too and get away from the heart of our Minnesota winter. But yeah, I just really like architecture, mythology, and you get all of that going to Greece. So.
Yeah, and then I'm Sam Pfeiffer. I'm a senior, studied abroad last semester or fall semester last year. Major business, major, minor in finance, and then I picked up a minor in Greece with history. All the classes I took, 3 of the classes I took over there were history classes, and so they all transferred back, and I was 1 class away from getting a history minor, so I said, why not? Yeah, I guess for me, the reason I picked Greece was looking through all the selections you could go to. or spots you could go to. Greece just stood out to me because of all the different classes you could take. But then just like, to be honest, it's just like looking at the city in general, and I was doing some research and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely the spot I wanna be. Nothing like specific stood out to me, but I was just like, yeah, I think Greece would be awesome, and it's a really good decision.
Like I said, I'll share, because you all had some great photos in there.
In the email that you sent me, that
Yeah.
link is the one with the photos like this text, so I don't know if you. I just forwarded it again to you, but,
Okay, we'll pull it up
okay.
in a little bit. We'll get through some of this and then you all can start asking questions when I'll stir you around in the background. So Athens, the CYA College Year in Athens is our partner. And these are photos from their facility. Do you all want to talk through any of the ones that stand out that you remember?
Classrooms, we can run through that first. The classrooms are a really cool design, however, for a lot of my classes, I was never really in the classroom, I was either at like a museum or at, an archaeological site. One that I actually want to point out is this picture right here. This was my Greek Orthodox class, coming from a little Theo class. Professor Despina, I actually still text her to this day. She's fantastic, like she's invited us to come back to her summer house in one of the islands in Greece. But yeah, this is one of the classrooms. I mean, you can kind of see just, similar to St. John, St. Ben's classrooms.
So classes are nice and small like they are here, just
Yeah,
something I
yeah.
appreciated, and you're in class with other students at CIA, which are from all over the US too, so you not only get to bond and get to know the people from CSBSAU, but you also get to know people from other universities in the US as well. Wi-Fi is great, I think I had a problem with Wi-Fi,
Good question on.
yeah, it's important. As far as like, the people at COI are great. If you ever have like any questions or anything, like there are people there who want to help you. And there are people there too to even help you if you wanna like trip plan or anything like that and you're just unsure about how to go about it. And they have tutors too, I believe. I don't know if I use that, but they do have that if you need it. They have plenty of lounge spaces too, like we do here as well in a lot of the buildings. Laundry. Laundry is like, they do have it at the school, which is nice. You do have to pay, I think, what was it,
I think it's like €2 for a washer and €2 for a dryer.
Yeah,
No one really dries their clothes there though, so
No.
everything's air dried and it's way better. I've actually started doing that since I've gotten there.
yeah, I will say the apartments you live in, they give you these really big dry racks. And so we use those all the time. I honestly don't think I ever used the dryer when I was there. I know some people who did, but personally for me, it was kind of like, I'm just gonna save myself the €2 this time and just dry my own clothes, so. Sometimes it takes a little more planning, but since Greece is so much warmer, typically your clothes dry relatively fast. Unless you're maybe washing jeans, that takes a bit longer. And then. One thing I really like to talk about CYA, which not every other program has, is they do have a cafeteria and they do provide lunch Monday through Friday, which is really nice. And it's all like on the picture there, it's all like traditional Greek food, so then you can kind of get acquainted with different things that you maybe wouldn't have thought about trying. So it's usually like a main dish, a salad, and then depending on the day, it was a fruit or dessert, I believe.
You pay for that or that's included?
That's included.
So do you do it every day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Fridays, it's like optional, so if you wanna like sign up throughout the week, you just write your name down and you can still go get lunch. And then there's always like a bunch of like bread and like olive oil,
So,
and it's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
yeah,
And
because Fridays we don't have class on Fridays, so that's why lunch is optional.
Yep.
You choose to come in, you can, or if you're gone on a trip, you're on a trip. So, yeah, I know a lot of the time when there was fruit, certain days, people would just take a bunch of fruit and go back. I think I did that a couple times.
Well, what I Didn't they also, if you came back at the end of the day and there were leftovers?
Oh,
Yeah,
you came
you
back.
always get seconds.
It was like not a minute before 3 o'clock, but if you came back at like 3:02, like they were like, all right, yeah, like, and then the ladies serving it usually are like kind of like Greek grandmas is like what we like to say, and they like to speak like Greek to you, so you like say good morning, like no, good afternoon, and like it's got so you learn a little bit of Greek just interacting with them daily.
So if you're really like strapped for cash, you could like bring a Tupperware back.
Oh, we do
Yeah.
that all the time.
Yeah.
We do that all the time,
You
actually.
could feed yourself pretty well just
Yeah.
for that one.
This is basically the only program that has
Yeah,
food, unless you're with a host family.
and that's why I like to
It's super
stress that,
nice.
it's super nice.
Yeah.
I just wanted to also, cause you all might think it's not as amazing, but do you see this? This is the original marble stadium, the first Olympic
Yep.
stadium.
Yep.
And this is CYA right here.
Yeah, you walk out
Right
and
there.
the neck is just right there.
You see it right there, we would go and sit up top there in the next stadium, it's a perfect view of the Acropolis, so we'd go up. And sit up there for sunset a lot of times, it's super fun.
There's also wasn't it Black Eyed Peas played there one night?
Oh, yeah,
Free concert, we got to watch the Black Eyed Peas, that was awesome.
super fun.
Oh, was this a cooking class with this cake?
Oh,
Or was this?
yes, that was.
In-
That was with Julie, so our program director that we had, for class, we did a fun cooking class together. There's a bunch of them in Athens, but
It was a lot of fun.
it was so much fun, yeah, cause it's usually all like traditional.
Yeah.
Stuff, so you can kind of learn, and I think they gave us like the recipe stuff
They
for
did, yeah.
everything, so it's kind of nice.
Judging by the way you said, I think you aren't, it's not in regular rotation right now.
You're not cooking it. Right?
Fortunately not.
But you
One
could,
day,
if you can
one
find,
day.
one day. You can find another recipe. Okay, here's the academic program. Did you all have any questions thus far? So the academic program, it's just normal, like here on campus, you're gonna take 16 credits. Your seminar course is 4 credits, and then you take 4 electives because their courses come back at 3 credits. And you can achieve a whole bunch of designations if you're looking to get your upper EO, your artistic expression, human experience, social world. And with your director's course, you also will get your CS, your GL, and your EX. So you can get a lot done. Also, you just need credits to graduate, and it's cool to learn. So it doesn't always need to carry a designation, or it can be a repeat, still worth it. See, I think I have questions there for you all at some point. If you are curious now, if you go to the Athens Spring page, if you go onto our website and find the page, you can look at the academics and you can find the study abroad course database that will show you what was there, and you can search by designation or you can search by department to see what it came back as, and then you can also, oh, that says fall. But you can go to CYA's website and they have all of the courses listed, and all of the courses, if you click on them, they also have a syllabus and a very detailed description. So you can kind of get a peek at what might be on offer there, if that's part of your calculation. What were your favorite courses?
Oh, man, so I'm trying to think of what I took, I got a lot of things checked off my list, I got my Theo class checked off, I took, Greek mythology while I was over there, that was super interesting. I took a history class, which I think counted for my human experience credit. That one had a really long name, it was like life and death and everything in between, an intro to the Finnish society, but it was super interesting. And I took a psych class while I was over there too, that one was kind of just like a class that I heard was really fun, and so I took that. And I really liked it, I think it was called Trauma and Remaking the Self. And then I also took a art and archaeology class too for my art credit. It was really fun.
Did you get to dig?
Did not dig, but I learned about a lot of different sculptures and pots and all different kinds of fun things, so.
So when you went to the museums, you could have done
Yes. I don't know if I could do it again like right away, but
Yeah,
it was
Then-
cool.
if you go back a slide, actually, So I took the sports games, spectacles, I took that class. That's like probably the most popular class you can get into. I'm super lucky to get it. And then I also took the class to the right of it, Rediscovering Roman Greece, both taught by Professor John Carvas. He is a great guy. He's like, I mean, the amount of classes we had in a cafe, where he would tell us to go just get like a drink and just sit and listen to him for an hour. It was like, I mean, we had them probably once a week, at least in a cafe, or we'd be going somewhere. In the sports games class, we got to go to where the Greek Olympic team practices, so we got to throw javelin and discus and all that fun stuff. We did like the true like Greek sprinting, like how they used to do it back in the day. So that was really interesting to learn all that. And then the Rediscovering Roman Greece, we were at the Athenian Agora. Is that what it is? Yeah, I think that's what it was. That one, we were there almost at least once a week. So for that class, we'd go to museums all the time. And then I took my art class over there. Were you in that class?
I took sculpture.
Sculpture, yeah, ancient Greek sculpture. It was by far the hardest class I've probably ever taken. I'm not kidding. I was like, oh, that's not my class. And it was, yeah, it humbled me pretty quickly. The midterm and final were pretty hard, but the professor again is super, super awesome. And yeah, I don't think I could take it again. It was a lot of work going to the NAM, the AM, you know, once a week and having to, so yeah, basically you'd go to these museums and there'd be tourists. And you'd walk up to a sculpture and you'd have to like talk about it for 5 minutes without notes. And you'd have to tell the class what it is, like who sculpted it, like the meaning behind it, when it was sculpted, what they used to sculpt. I'm like, oh, so I would actually have to study for that class. That was the class that I would always study for. But yeah, so those are the classes I've
For
taken.
that, they will probably appreciate it.
You have to explain it to tourists. Like,
They would always listen, yeah. They'd be like, oh, and then they'd ask.
You work
why.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
Yeah, Athena Haji.
yeah.
And then lastly, the my theo class that I took with Despina.
Yeah, which is probably, would have been on this, but it's probably on the third.
Yeah,
Cause you
Yep.
took the ancient Greek.
yeah, I took that one and then the one up in the upper right. That one, yeah.
is it hard to get into the ones you want and like, do you have any strategies about?
Which were kind of
So yeah, we you register like if it says you register at 3, like everyone in that program is registering at 3, so be on at 3 and like be locked in because I was on like, you know, I was getting ready. But every single person program wide registers at the same time. So just be on good Wi-Fi and hope for the best.
Yeah, my experience is a little stressful. My registration time was like right at the end of one of my classes here. And I think my best advice would just be like, be flexible, like make a list of like what classes would be most interesting to you, but also be open to possibly taking something that's a little bit out of your comfort zone because you got lucky with the sports class, but my Wi-Fi lagged. And so I sat there and everything was like, oh, that's full, that's full, that's full. So, cause like Sam said, everybody registers at the same time, so. But I still really liked all my classes, so you just gotta be open to anything.
I will also put out there that they do have a system when you are applying, because even though if you are accepted on the program, if you choose to apply and accepted on the program, you are in it, but we have to apply to them just to get into their systems. That's how the paperwork works. And when you go through that application process, if you list the things that you have to complete to keep you moving towards graduation, they do put you in them now. So they are working on that system. And so like, if you know that you need a theology, you write down the theology that you want to take and they'll put you in that one. They don't offer you all of your classes done that way, but you can usually get the ones that you absolutely need.
Yeah.
And they are very accommodating. It's very rare that we haven't been able to get students into classes so that they're getting the things done that they really need to get done in terms of designation or major pieces like that, so. And yes, there is no, because it is not a regular university, there's no hierarchy in terms of years and numbers of credits, so everyone's there for the semester, so it's open to everyone. But there are strategies, we'll talk about that. Okay. How are things? The neighborhood.
There we'll all go. Yeah, so, you know, 5 to 15 minute commute, mine was 30 seconds. I had this is student apartments to the university, which is really nice. Everyone's apartment is very, very similar. And like the balconies are awesome. Ours was very, very big, and we were on the main drag, so right across from Lake Kikos, so we'd always get to be in on the mix. And we actually brought our couch out on our balcony and we would just sit out there most nights, and it's awesome. They have cleaning staff that comes in depending on what apartment you're in, comes in once a week to do like the bathrooms,
Yes.
clean your rooms, like sweep, like they won't like do
It's
your like
Super
yeah.
nice.
They don't do your dishes really, like, but they take out like some of the garbages, like it's really awesome. So, you know, just making sure that your house is clean enough for them to get into, because I guess there's some guys that they couldn't even get into because they're so messy, so.
Yeah, it
Um,
doesn't mean to be a pig, but like
Yeah.
there are people who are very nice and they come clean, so. I think I lived about 5 minutes away, at about a 5 minute walk, that is not the exact staircase that led up to my apartment, but I had one very similar, so. That was a bit of a hike every time I went up to my apartment. I had a very big staircase, which was fine. I know one of my roommates got dropped off at the bottom of that staircase when we first got there and hauled all her luggage all the way up, but. We live and we learn.
Yeah.
All the apartments are similar, like Sam said, but they're, you know, a little different. They have all different layouts kind of, and. Did you guys actually share rooms, right? Or did you have your own?
there's 4 of us and there were 3 bedrooms, so 2 of us got them.
Okay. Yeah, so I was told when I was going that I was gonna get a single, as well as one of my other roommates was getting a single, and then my other 2 roommates were gonna share a room. But when we got there was actually 4 bedrooms, so we all ended up getting our own room, so. It kind of depends on the layout of your apartment, cause I know some of my other friends ended up sharing a room, which is fine, but. The rooms are usually decent size, most of them.
And they all have
are,
AC,
so
it's
they
really
all have
yeah.
AC. Which is super nice, and there's a lot of good balconies on most of the
Yeah.
apartments too, so.
And your neighbors.
Yes, so I don't think, there were like, ever like multiple apartments for students in like one apartment complex, if that makes sense, so like.
There are some.
There's
Some,
Less
a couple, but like most of the time. You're in an apartment complex with just other local Greek people, so. Obviously important to be respectful that it's not just like regular campus housing that we're used to. People probably won't be as lenient if there gets to be, you get to be like too loud and stuff.
Yeah, like kiddos to go to bed and.
Yes.
In our,
Or
we shared an apartment with, really quick, we shared an apartment with, an older Greek lady, and we started taking her trash out for her at the end of the year. She lived on
In the apartment
in
building.
the apartment building, yeah,
Okay.
sorry, yeah. We lived in a building, she lived on the 6th floor, so she lived on the penthouse, and she had a really cool patio, so we got to go up there a couple times. But we'd take out, like, she just set her trash out, we'd take the elevator up and grab it and take it out for her, so just being respectful of people around and. It's kind of a big thing.
Kind of a typical weekend, did you realize?
Yes, yeah, I think most of the places have one bathroom, I know, some of my friends had a 6-person apartment and they had 2 bathrooms with that, yeah, we're provided with like sheets, and they provide us with set of towels as well, which is really nice, so you don't have to worry about hauling all that bulky stuff over there. Yeah, this is pretty much what a standard bedroom looks like. You have a desk, lamp. I think most of the bedrooms did have a corkboard too, that I remember seeing. I had one. Yeah. The kitchen, super nice, like you have everything you need in your kitchen, like utensils wise, plates, pans, all that stuff. You really don't have to worry about getting anything for that. Yes, there's the dry rack that I was talking about earlier.
We're clearly not moving enough.
The one, the picture on the left was our apartment, it was actually renovated right before we got there, that's what it did look like. As you can see, it's very quite small, So there was only really typically ever one person cooking at once. So we kind of, you figure that out, but. Yeah, that was actually.
Yeah, or team up and cook together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we do that
cooked
too.
with my roommates a lot too, so that was sometimes kind of nice to all just like hang out together and make a meal. But yeah, so another thing I like to talk up about CYA that's really nice is they do field studies that are included in the price program fee you pay to go. Because this one will be in the spring, we went in the fall, it'll be like a little different than what we had, but mostly the same, so. The first weekend we went to Delphi and Ancient Olympia.
Right after your work.
Right after we had
I
orientation.
think that was orientation, wasn't it?
It's part
Oh,
of
it was like
orientation, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so that was kind of fun. The one we didn't get to do is Thessaloniki, which is like way up in northern Greece. Never made it there, but I heard it was really cool.
Yeah, I heard
From
it's
some
awesome.
other people who went there.
The city, right?
Yes, it's like, I think it's the second
second
biggest
one.
city
Yeah, I think it has like.
in Greece, yep.
Yep.
One thing we also did not get to do, which is super fun, is that
I'm
there's,
jealous,
yeah, I'm kind of jealous, there's now an international excursion too that we didn't get to do, so. You get to pick from a list of different places on where you wanna go out of country and go. Which is super awesome,
And that's included in your
that's
portfolio, and it's also like
included.
topic, based on a topic,
Yes.
so are you interested in like. History, then you pick this one, if you're interested in business, you pick this one, so you can either pick based on the location or based on the theme, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and actually all of the excursions kind of run based on
On
themes that
yeah.
you select, so you aren't all on the same bus, you go in. So there's just a giant crowd descending
Yeah.
on one site every time, right?
Yeah.
You have smaller buses and they usually are based on themes that you select, whether you're doing
Mhm.
history or maybe you're doing modern Greece or the economics of Greece or things like that.
There's plenty of options for like whatever you're interested in. And, or if you like, just really like a professor too, you have to go with them, it's kind of nice. The Peloponnese was another one, we did that one was in November, I believe, when we were there later in the semester. That one is more of a bigger, just region in Greece, we went to multiple cities and we were there, so.
The economic forum is something that you all did not do as well, but it's a presentation, so it's kind of a mini conference that students get to participate in.
And then there's also optional excursions that you can pay extra than to do. So Crete is one of those. Crete is the biggest island in off of Greece. We got to go there instead of Thessaloniki. That was what we got to do for one of our field studies, which was super cool. If you're interested in it all, I really liked it there.
Yeah, I think Greece was like one of my favorite spots in them too, for sure.
So, and that one's also kind of a nice one to do through the school because it is such a large island that having those connections to like be bussed around and stuff is really nice. Cause one would think like on an island, you would be like, oh, well, it's an island, well, you still have to get around.
Turns out they're not that small.
So,
And they have some heights, so. The optional programs are generally pretty affordable, CYA just to keep
Yeah.
the price very affordable for students, so it's another good way to see activities. I did get a picture. So your apartment was like right across.
it was like across.
Our apartment was like, yeah,
The
right.
other
across
side,
from the street.
basically.
Yeah, I guess I'll start really quick. So Kiko's right there. It's by far like the largest coffee shop that almost every single CYA student goes to.
It's amazing.
The owner, what's his name, Dimitri?
Yeah.
He treats us very well. He has actually St. John's or St. Ben's like flag in his in the building, so it's kind of cool. And if you tell him you're from there, he'll give you like I got a free coffee like once a week. It was awesome. I would help him out with a couple things. Like I helped him put up Christmas lights. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But the community like from there is something you don't really see often. Really good coffees. They have pastries.
So nice.
Yeah, super nice.
Yeah. we went there, one time we had some friends who were, from the Rome study abroad program that came and visited us, and so we took them there. One night and Dimitri, like, he came and treated us and brought us things that we didn't even pay for, so he was always super nice. I should send you a picture, I think I have a picture of a bunch of us with him.
Well, and one of your photos was that with, weren't you with them?
That was actually with the owners of Piggies,
Oh,
which is like the
okay.
most, yeah, that was my favorite hero shop.
Yeah.
I mean, I visited one in 2019 and I was only there for a week and every time I went in, so happy. I got treats, cookies, all with, like,
Awesome.
So good.
asked me if I could share the address to the president of the schools, so that he could write a letter saying how nice you all are. So it's a lovely human, good place to go.
But activities, I mean, like, on a typical week, I feel like at night, like they don't eat their dinners over there till between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. So it's kind of a unique culture shock that I thoroughly enjoyed actually. I didn't think I was gonna like it. But I just walk around, like we get a big group of people and we just kind of start walking, and if we'd like wanting it, we went to a couple outdoor movies, we went to a couple shows. But yeah, we just honestly walk around. There's always something going on.
It's like some of the best advice that I can give, no matter where you end up like deciding to go abroad or anything, like walk. Like, I mean, you, that's usually how, like, I think almost all of us found the best things, was just by walking around and looking. I mean, sometimes, yeah, we'd find stuff on Google Maps or whatever, but a lot of the times there's a lot of hidden gems kind of in the mix. I know Sam kind of already mentioned, that is the theater that we went to. All of us CSPSU went, with our program leader there. That was super fun. That was like, it was like a play and they had, it was in Greek, but they had English subtitles. So we still like were able to follow along. Kind of fun to like immerse yourself a little more in like a nightly thing that they do there. And that's like right by where the Acropolis is.
Yep,
Right behind you, right?
right on, yeah, if you look up, you see the Acropolis.
And then the picture at the top left there, that is marble carving. That is an activity you can pay extra to do. I know some of our friends did that and they really enjoyed it. I think it was like a Monday, like every like Monday night for so many weeks you went, kind of a thing.
Before too, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Kind of a nice souvenir.
How big? This is what I'm wondering.
It looks like that guy's like square, do you see that?
It's like,
Yeah.
I know some people said they sent it back home with their parents if they visited it. It was a little bit heavier, because it is marble. But it's kind of a fun thing.
Like
to
you carve
have.
a design into it or something like that?
Yeah, so yeah, you can design like whatever you want on it. I saw so many different designs, and I think at the end of the semester, they have kind of they like lay out a bunch of people's projects. And you can kind of like go around and look at what everybody did, so they did have like the marble carvings laid out. I think I made a poster for one of my classes too, and that was up somewhere. Kind of like they do here too.
CSC did.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I think that's just another like cooking class, so.
Oh, so I was trying to think. Tough.
I feel like I've already said some of my like top things, but one thing I really also liked about Greece was that not only like there's so much to see just in Greece. I feel like I did travel out of the country a couple times, but I think I would have been satisfied though still just staying in Greece, because you can go to so many of the Greek islands. There's thousands of them. And each one has its own little quirks. So they have some similarities, but there's also things that make them very unique. And even the other like regions in Greece that we went to over there were also very interesting. I think that was probably one of my top things.
I would say, like the affordability of traveling, and just like the food, like you could go to the store and, I don't know if any of you do this, but when you like grocery shop in Europe, you basically get what you need for that day or like the next day, because they don't have as many like preservatives in their food, so things go bad. So we got like a loaf of bread for our house like the first week, and after like 4 days, we're like, oh, it already has mold on it. So, you know, but I would say the affordability, like being able to get groceries is super inexpensive, just being able to cook. We'd also use a service called Volt a lot, that was probably one of my favorite things about Greece. So it's a food delivery app, I don't know if any of you came up to the table event, in Upper Gretzky, I kind of, marketed this out.
It's basically like DoorDash, but.
It's DoorDash, but no fees, no taxes, and an option to leave a tip, which is like €1. So basically, as long as you spent more than €5, there's like a free delivery fee. It was awesome now. And they had like every restaurant around you, and so we use that a lot. Because you know, we'd like to shop local, is what we would say. And support other, you know, restaurants. But that was a good way. But we'd also like to go to the actual restaurants and sit down. Like there's a restaurant like 5 minutes from us called Black Sheep. And it's like, if you go there, like, you have to try this restaurant. And it was the best food I think I've ever had in my entire life. And like a meal was like €15 at most, and that's with like.
Tipping isn't
Advertising.
really much of a thing
Right.
there.
And I became really into actually drinking wine, so that was kind of fun too, to pick up in the hobby. Responsibly though, responsibly.
Yeah, the food is wonderful. I honestly, like, still to this day, I would go back just for the
Just for the
food.
food, 100%.
The Mediterranean diet is very good for you, but it also like it tastes good. Like it's healthy, but it's really good. I would give a lot to have another Euro. I've eaten them since I've been back, and it's just sometimes if you ever want to try, it's not the same as it is in Greece, but Gretzky does sometimes have tzatziki. Have you ever
Yeah.
noticed that? It's not
Yeah.
the same, but if you ever want to try that, that is what they have in Greece all the time. It's what you order with fries and stuff. That was one of my favorite things there too.
Yeah,
So good.
another reason, the top reasons. I guess, yeah, just being able to travel all around Greece as well, like the islands are fantastic, and since you will be there in the spring. It'd be kind of reverse, like we went the first like 5 or 6 weeks to the islands, cause that's always so nice, but for you, it'll be like the first 5 or 6 weeks, it'll just be kind of. Getting busier and busier, so, island season usually starts, I don't remember the exact time.
It'll be like the later part of the semester.
It won't be Minnesota.
No.
But it won't be.
They'll be in winter coats, you know what I mean, like, it'll be like 60 degrees out and be in winter coats.
Yeah.
Wow, this is.
I remember still dressing like this, or even like wearing a t-shirt when I was there at the end in December. Like it was still like high 50s, low 60s, and I did get a lot of looks many a times because they're walking around in winter coats and they're like,
What are you wearing? Yeah.
But I will say, like, as much as I kind of make fun of them for that, I could definitely not handle their summers.
Yeah, I don't know if I could either.
Because we got there at the beginning of September and it was still like high 80s and 90s, so.
Then my last reason I would say is the academic part of it. I mean, I'm not just saying it because she told me to say it, but all the classes were actually very interesting.
Wait,
and I
she did tell you to say that?
Yes, she did. But a lot of the classes, all the classes I took were really interesting, really good connections with the professors, getting to meet the other students from the other universities. Like all the professors, since we've been going to CYA for so long, if you say you're from St. John's or St. Ben's, you automatically kind of have like a little like gold star next to your name, like it's kind of fun. But the classes are they're really interesting. I mean, I heard from a lot of people, because I didn't have classes. I don't know if it started the year after, like 2 years before we went, but used to be like all CSBSU students would take classes together. And then they changed it so we could take our own classes, and I think that was a really good change.
Yeah.
Being able to meet the other students and take the classes that you wish to take. But yeah, the academics were fun, not too much work. I'm just gonna be honest, they don't really believe in homework. And so it's a lot of readings, and I actually found the readings very interesting. And if you don't do the readings, then you're gonna go to the museum and you're gonna have no clue what they're talking about. So it is important to do the readings, but I guess I didn't have like much like traditional homework where you sit down and
I
we work for
definitely
2 hours.
didn't have as much, I would say I didn't have as much busy work as I
Yeah,
do
that's cool.
here. I will say. Things were just different for me because I'm a bio major, and so the work that I normally do here was like very different than what I did there because it was just all different coursework, a lot more. Essays and projects and stuff that I was used to doing, so that made it a little different, but it was good, kind of put me out of my comfort zone a little bit more. I will say it was so nice though to be able to learn about what what's being talked about in class and actually go see it.
Mhm.
Or just like be in the museum or wherever you are and your professor's there and they're talking about it and it's like. That is the thing that we were talking about right now. It's just like one of the best ways you can learn.
It is.
So it's amazing. I mean, we went, I don't even know how many places I went over the course of the semester. We went, and everything is so walkable too, like. It's really not that hard. I think there was only one place for class that I needed to get on the like the bus or like.
And it's weird, like the public transportation there is really easy to use and really affordable, but the Greeks tell you not to pay for it. They're like, oh, no, don't pay. I would always pay.
Don't listen.
But don't listen to them because the first time I listened to one of them, I didn't pay and then I got fucked.
Yeah.
So, just, I can just do it.
Yeah, I think a normal like ticket, cause at CYA, there's like a booth that has just different food, all that stuff. You can get your tickets there for the transit. And Google Maps is super helpful for helping you coordinate that and everything. But it was like €1.20, I think, for like one ride or whatever, so it was really cheap. So get your ticket. Don't recommend not getting a ticket because I wasn't
Mistake.
the fine, or sometimes I was on the shuttle once and it someone wasn't any of us, but someone did not have a ticket. And those people come out of nowhere. I don't know, they just appear and they're like,
Yeah.
give me your ticket. And you don't, sometimes they will either fine you or sometimes they'll be like, give me your passport. And if you don't do that, they'll be like, hey, I'm calling the cops. And I'm like, okay, that's what happened to the guy that I saw.
Do you have a subway system?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing I also really liked about Greece that when I went out of country was different. They would use like the same tickets for like basically everything, which made it so much easier. I don't know why not everybody does that. The only ticket that was different was if you were going to the airport, then you needed to pay a little more for that fare. But normally it was like the same ticket whether you're using like the bus shuttle or if you were going down like underground doing the metro, like still the same thing. Made it so easy. And sometimes we took that for class too, so it's not anything too difficult though, you really kind of adapt fast.
And if you do need to use like a taxi, either use Free Now or Uber, because if you use like a traditional taxi, like they'll be able to tell that you are a tourist and they will jack up the rates, whereas if it's on Uber or Free Now, it just it's built into the system,
Yeah.
so
I
I
would
recommend.
definitely recommend trying to get associated with the public transportation, again, like wherever you go, just because it's a good thing to know, you might run into a situation where you kind of need that. But Ubers there way less expensive than they are here.
Mhm.
And you're probably not going as far because you're in
No.
the city, so it's
So-
a little bit of a different component. And I'm just gonna put a plug in that wherever you go, you should probably avail the laws. It's generally a wise strategy.
Well, it's actually the owner from Kiko's his son, he's like, yeah, you don't ever need to pay.
Yeah.
And we were going to the class, so we were getting a coffee, right, but we don't have time to get one, he's like, just don't pay, like, nobody pays, I'm like, okay. And so we got, and we're about to get up at the Acropolis Museum, and a guy comes up to us and is like, where's your guys' ticket? We're like, we don't have one. And so we each had to pay, I think it was like a 25 to 100.
The fee is way more
I
than
should
your
swap the
ticket.
euro or 25 euro ticket rather than the.
Is this
euro.
same thing?
Yes, we wanna support the Athens
Oh,
public
yeah,
transportation
100%.
stuff, all good.
And sometimes you do just not know, and sometimes you just get stuck with Indeed, but like. If you
Just
do
pay.
it, no, just pay. I know someone who got fined at the airport too, and they didn't have the special ticket, and it was very expensive.
Speaking of these are the prices that are online right now. Sorry, yeah, thank you. These are the prices that are here for fall 25. So obviously, spring 27 will be a little different. We usually anticipate somewhere between a 3 to 5% increase on things, but you know, it all depends on also the global market and what happens in the world. But those are things that we usually try to stay within that range in terms of any increases. The way to understand this, if you are going to look online, which you can easily find it through go to costing finances or what you have to pay. This is your tuition, right? You still have to pay your tuition. And then this is the program fee that goes on your student account. Nothing else would go on your student account. So this is, think of it like a course fee or something, right? It's going to be applied for that semester. These costs down here are some of them are estimates. Your passport, we're pretty sure about, but if you already have a passport, then you don't need to do that. But these are costs that would typically happen prior to departure, and these are costs that would typically happen after arrival. And then we make some, so these are estimates, but this is roughly how much you may want to budget above what you are normally spending on campus. Right, we do have different kinds of scholarships. I'm the sort of the lead of scholarships in the office, so you can always make an appointment through the Hive and come in and visit with me, and we can talk more about those in specific details. So application tips for success. GPA, if you happen to have below a 2.5, sometimes people start college and they discover that maybe, like me, they're not going to be a marine biologist because chemistry is hard. And they're going to be an English major because they also like to read books. And so sometimes we don't always have the best first semester, but as long as we're seeing a projection that has you doing better and being stronger in classes, we can always have a conversation if you're lower. The only things that preclude you from going abroad, absolutely, are if you're on academic probation or probation due to conduct reasons. No one can go abroad under those conditions. It's a holistic review when you're doing the application. So it's not just the GPA, it's also your essay, thinking about the reasons why you want to go. Why not stay on campus? Why not go to England? Right? Why do you want to do Greece? So give us a good reason why that's going to be important and make an impact. Then you need 2 references, one faculty, somebody you had for class, and then 1 non-faculty reference. Can still be a faculty member if you knew them in a different context. Like if they were your, like if you're a student employee and you're working in that department and they've worked with you as sort of a student employee, that's fine too, right? So as long as it's outside of class. I already said that part. You're gonna have an interview. And so preparation and enthusiasm. I know you really wanna go. And you really want to go to Greece, not just abroad. So you'll have an interview with Ellen. She'll be putting up, after the applications are complete, you'll get an email and go through those things. Next steps. So create a good financial plan, right? As we talked about, it's not an inexpensive proposition. And I always recommend visiting with me or also going to financial aid and finding out what it's going to take and what options you might have available to you. You can create your profile in the global portal, which is where all of the applications and things live. To apply to a program, you have to be in the global portal. So go ahead and get started in that, and then you can see. You can meet with another study abroad mentor in the Experience Hub in the library. Right? And they can talk you through, if Greece isn't the only one on your list, they can talk you through and compare the different options. The timeline, and there's an interview and you have to do an application. So also our career mentors are there to help you with that process too. The application is not due until February 3rd, but do have some incentive. If you start by November 30th, you'll be entered into a drawing to have your application fee waived. The application fee is $300. If you change your mind during the application process and or if for some reason you should not be accepted in the program or decide not to commit to the program, you are refunded your application fee. It is not our goal to keep that. We do start spending it though quick though, so once you commit, you start spending on your behalf. Okay. I am the program manager for Greece. For Greece. And this is a little bit about me. I've studied abroad and worked in this field a while. So if you have questions, I also do assist with postgraduate, and you might see me with, you will see me to talk about Greek visas if you opt to go on this program. All right. This, by the way, is my favorite sign from South Africa. Place we pulled up and I was
That's
like,
where, yeah.
that's a great sign. Those sounds stay. Okay, any questions or anything? I know it's 6 o'clock, so we don't have much time. But if you had questions, take them, or you can hang out and we'll work on this individual. Any questions? I've given you a lot to think about. Yes.
So like, if you don't like know anybody that's going on the program, or like, you're like, friends are going on a different program, like, how does like house work? It's still like CSB students, not CYA students, right?
It's
All CSBS students, so you'll be with Benny's. And you have like a form we filled out that, it's kind of like what we filled out, like when if you had a random roommate and you came in, like, what are your preferences as far as like living goes? And then there was a question about like, if you do know someone in the program or like you know of someone and you want to live with them, you can write down, I would love to live with this person. And there's also a spot for, I would not like to live with this person. So there is like things geared to like help you figure that out.
And we have some pre-departure meetings with the accepted students before that housing stuff.
Yeah.
happens, right? So you'll have met everybody who's accepted. And then also, like, I did my study abroad, 30 students, I didn't know a single one, and like, I'm still really close with
Yes.
a bunch of them, so. I
Yeah,
wouldn't worry about that, but the living thing is about like going on your own and not having friends, because you will very quickly make some. But from the housing perspective, you will at least like, we'll have a few like icebreakery departure workshops with the whole group that I'm able to worry about before we have to pick your houses.
I would say I didn't have like any of my like close friends going with. I only really knew of some people going, and now we're all very close. So I honestly think it's kind of good sometimes if you don't know a ton of people or don't know any people, because you kind of can expand outside your group. So.
And then do you register like, or would it be the semester before? the classes?
For classes, so there's sort of 2 timelines that happen, because you have to register in Banner for CSBSJU, because you have to be a student, and we know you're a student when you're registered. That carries all of your financial aid and all the things. That's a really easy piece to do. And then CYA sets the timeline on when they open registration for spring. So it's a little hard. This is the first time we're doing spring, so I don't have all of the exact dates on that yet, because it's been fall. So previously, when it was fall and they were arriving in September, they did registration in April.
April was when we did ours.
April, so there's time. And so when we'll go through the process, I will absolutely message multiple times before it happens. I don't let students miss that date. And so there's lots of instructions that come out for those particular details.
don't feel stressed at all the paperwork, is the CSBSU, what a global,
Oh, yeah,
like, yeah, your department does a really good job at laying out when you have to get it done in time.
Experience Hub
Yeah,
is always there for any questions. I went there multiple times asking about stuff. I did the mock interview that they also hold too, just to practice. I thought that was helpful. Yeah, I know, I think I went to a thing they did for like making your resume, which was super helpful as well, just like helping you make sure you're including everything. I had a made a resume in like a while, so that was really helpful for me, just making sure like that all my boxes checked off before applying. So.
And it turns out that's really useful in the future.
It is.
So it's good practice to get started. Any last questions?
Also be here like after if you wanna come up to us and talk, so you're all.
And you can always come visit us on the Experience Hub, send me an email, make an appointment with me as well.
And me too.
Cease the recording.